Hi. First, I want to say thank you to the Sales Enablement Collective for creating a stage that allows me to see you all and you can see me. I'm extremely short, so I feel much better about this. Thank you. And yes, I wanted to talk to you today because when I was approached to do something here, one of the things, and it's actually been a recurring theme for the last day and a half, has been about how do we, one, get stakeholder buy-in, and two, how do we partner? How do we partner for success? And specifically, how do we partner for success with our frontline sales managers? Because as what I think Matt was saying earlier, that sometimes our frontline managers can make or break our programs or our tech stack or the confidence in the enablement team in general. I've been lucky enough and unlucky enough to experience all of that. And so I wanted to take a moment to share why a partnership like this is so important. So let's talk about the sales manager. They do a lot, right? They are talking to customers. They're talking about quota. They're thinking about their attainment. They're also having coaching conversations. They are the first line to many customers and to our sales reps. So it's really important to understand everything they're juggling before you come in and add one more plate or one more arm or one more specific tool, right? So I think it's important to touch upon that and to touch upon the importance of that. Now we spoke throughout yesterday about leadership buy-in, and this is a key part of leadership buy-in. And as we talked about earlier this morning, there's the top down and the bottom up. I'm specifically talking about the bottom up and our frontline managers. So partnerships. Partnerships are essential to us and essential to enablement for success within our organizations. So it is how are you able to successfully partner with either product marketing, your product team, engineering, recruiting as we heard earlier, to make sure that we have a successful conversation and a successful enablement program. That requires the collaboration, it requires ideas. Honestly, I get a lot of ideas from the frontline managers. And yes, it will be, I don't want to use what you just taught my sales teams, I want to use this. No, I had them look at that, I don't think that's right, I'm going to go here. Well, the good thing is to communicate and ask why. Communication, communication, communication. I cannot emphasize that enough, and I want to talk about that a lot throughout this conversation. So partnerships and enablement are key. And specifically, partnerships with your frontline sales manager. I mean, why is it so important? As I said before, they're the front line to our sales reps, new, seasoned, stars, those that need improvement. And it's essential for us to have a good conversation with the sales managers. And often, as we heard yesterday, sales managers are not always managers. They've been promoted, they're successful sales reps, and they've been promoted into a management position. So what I have found in my experience, good, bad, and otherwise, that we often in the enablement world tend to be coaches for them, not just for our sales reps. So I really want to point that out and really call to that. This partnership is essential for any programmatic success. And that is because those folks are the first ones you want to talk to about new initiatives, about new tools. I think Matt suggested earlier that the frontline managers are good folks to have as your test group. That's exactly what I did to launch a new LMS. I had our sales managers go through it first so that they can give their feedback, their conversation, their good, bad, and otherwise. And showed them the power of something like the pitch certification and challenge. That helped them understand, wait, I can watch this, I can review this, I can give them feedback, it's recorded, and we can do this again. Sometimes just having that simple conversation can make such a difference. So how do we go through that? How do we do that? So if you're coming into an organization and you don't know who the sales managers are, the frontline managers, I don't think any of us are shy in this room. I don't think any of us have had a position where we don't know how to approach folks. That's one of the key, beautiful benefits of being in enablement. We are communicators. We are connectors. This partnership piece of it is something that honestly happens naturally, as I watched yesterday, during the sessions, during the breaks, and even at the dinners. We like talking to each other. We like talking. We like listening. So that's really what we need to do when we talk to our frontline managers and our sales managers. So partnering with them is absolutely key. And sometimes you have to jockey to get on their calendar. But you also need to understand if you have some buy-in from the upper leadership. So for example, if you work with the sales VPs and say, this is what we want to do, they'll often say, go to my managers. Okay, so you have that jockeying of that communication. You have that jockeying of that conversation. But it's always about getting that seat at the table. Whether they're sitting at the table with their reps in a training session or sitting across from you at their desk or in a Zoom. It's so important to ensure that you have that conversation with them because it's important for success. It's important for your success, right? If you get the right connection, connectivity, and conversation, which is like competence, confidence, and what was the last one? The three that we're going through now, you will find that frontline managers will lead into you, especially first-time sales managers. That's a good opportunity for you to help them moving forward, having good conversation and also being able to coach their teams. So I wanted to share some examples of goodness. And first example of goodness I just mentioned before was the sales manager coaching. So this is often that one-to-one, aside from the sales team or having that sales team involved. And it's about having that conversation with them. So I started at my role in September of 2021. The first two things I had to ask for was, what is our pitch and our sales story? And who are our managers and when can I meet them? So it was absolutely important for me to understand who were the folks that I was partnering with for success. Now, if you are in an organization where you have multiple frontline managers, which I had in a previous company, I then started connecting the other enablers in my team to the other sales managers. Well, what does that do? That elevates your team. That elevates the visibility of your team. That also provides your team an opportunity to work cross-functionally. And also, your team, your enablers in the other team, if it's large, can come back and help, can come back and bring things back. Now that promotes a level of communication and trust. That can be built over time, not just with you if you are an enablement leader, not just with you if you are one part of the team, or not just with you if you are the VP. It's making that connection so the entire team is successful. Now the small team coaching. I look at this as a one-to-few. So I very boldly, in a couple of companies, asked to be in sales teams calls. And here's the why. Because I got the, why do you want to be on this? We're covering this, this, and this. This is just a small team. I'm like, great. In order for me to help you, in order for you to be more successful, in order for you to have better conversation with your customers, it'd be great if I was on the call. I'll listen in. If you need me to come in, I will. If you need me to lean in, I will. But I just want to sit in on your team. So Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, when it wasn't in forecasting, I was on team calls. I learned a lot, and then the team learned a lot about enablement. The team also learned a lot about other parts of the organization, because as we know with partnerships, enablement can be that centerpiece, right? Enablement can be that linchpin to other organizations. So they used to, once they got used to me being on the call, I then had the opportunity to share releases that were coming down the way, product updates, people updates, organizational updates, sales process updates. So then it became, and it's slowly but surely, an opportunity to be on the agenda, a consistent item on the agenda. Sales pitch certification. You can roll your eyes now, you can grow now. We all know that this is necessary. And when I think back to Eli's presentation yesterday, when we were talking about getting that messaging right, my company is in the middle of readjusting all of our pitch and messaging. So I scored myself at 0, going, wow, I got work to do. But I know that I have the partners to do that with. So the sales pitch certification is a great way to partner with the frontline managers because you also make them accountable for your reps' success. And that is by, some folks who have an LMS that will have a video recording or role play that allows you to record that. The first line manager gets to score that, I get to score that, and then we can move that up to our VPs if we want to highlight and have, for example, a Hall of Fame. Now, when I did it for this organization back in February for our third round of messaging, we didn't have an LMS. So I then was on the phone with folks, and it was nonstop. But I got to learn who is really good at storytelling, who is really good at engaging in discovery, who is really good at engaging in qualification. And guess what? So did your frontline manager. So did your sales manager. Because then we'd have a conversation after, and we talk about and rank who's doing well. That again gives the frontline manager an opportunity to see their team and see their team perform. So sales pitch certification is essential. You set the course, you set the pace, and if you can do that, your sales manager will appreciate and respect you for that. Now they'll want to rush along. I got to get this done. I got this, we got this customer call, it's great. Got it. But getting the customer calls right, getting the conversation right, and the story right is just as important to that frontline manager. And if someone is new, they're a successful rep that's been promoted to a manager, they actually understand that because they've been telling the story. They've been having the good customer conversations. The next one is the rep-to-rep guidance. This is really great when you have an AI recording like a chorus or a gong. So we have a buddy mentor system. So when a new rep starts, we map them with an experienced rep, and we introduce them, so we're part of the call, the first call, introducing them to each other, how they can help each other. Then we ask each of them to be on a call, or if they cannot be on the call, to review the gong. Then we get the reps together, and we talk about the call. And when I can map new reps to experienced reps, there's a lot of great conversation that can come about that. Now, why does that help the sales manager? You are helping them. You are helping them with an essential part of their job, and that's ensuring that their team is working together, that they're having the right conversation, that they're telling the right story, and that they are successful. And that is done with the team and within the team. And if the sales manager is not there, again, you have your one-on-one, if you can get your one-on-one consistently, and say, hey, by the way, this rep and this rep got together. This worked out well. It is creating a structure that works, and there's building trust within that structure too, right? So for sales managers, yeah, I'm asking them a lot. I'm asking them to talk to me. I'm asking them to think about their team. I'm asking to bank on their team to be successful. But I also have an agreement with them that that is my role. I want to make sure that their team is successful. When they understand that, when they see that, and they witness that, they take a step back. Because that's one less thing they have to worry about. I got to go back and talk about this problem client or this problem customer. And the last one, and I'm not sure how many of you, depending upon the size of your team, and that's a leadership series for sales reps. So in this leadership series for sales reps, we ask the frontline managers to identify a rep that could represent their team. So we have different groups, obviously, Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, West, and Midwest, and we have one person from each group. We then create what's called a sales advisory board. At least that's what I called it. And then we ask the frontline managers to lean in onto that sales advisory board. And it's a two-way. The two-way about it is, one, they will be the first ones to see and preview training, i.e. the LMS that we just launched, and can provide feedback on it and can add different elements or feedback or good, bad, or otherwise. What I get out of it is an opportunity to adjust and adapt the training. Also, once our product marketing team and the other members of our partnership here in Enablement found out that's what we were doing, they were able to bring releases, product issues, customer stories. They could talk about customer reference programs. So it became a space where the frontline managers knew that they would get the right feedback at the right time from the right people. They're sales reps. We started bringing in other elements into the sales advisory board. You don't want to get it too big, but you want to structure it out. So maybe once every other month, we would bring them together. If we were getting closer to a product release, then we'd bring them in for the pre-product release. And that was even before we introduced that or did any enablement about releases to the rest of the sales team, to give them that front approach, that frontline approach. So these are just some examples. And I know when I've talked about this, I've actually brought in so many other people than the frontline manager, right? Yeah, go here, go there, partner with everybody. But the good thing is, all of these elements help the frontline managers. All of these elements and enablement helps that sales manager to be far more successful. Now, what can we improve on? Look, 3 out of my 5 programs in the last 6 months were successful. The other 2 that were not as successful were because one of these bullet points was not part of it. Communication, communication, communication. Incentivization. Now I know there was a question yesterday about gamification and I know that there's some in software, but I actually look at it as incentivization, because if one person wins, we all win, right? So when we did the sales pitch and how we introduced the software to the sales reps, we first had them do a lip sync competition. Silly, but you would be amazed how many people think their dogs are good backup singers. You would be amazed at how many children took part in it. You would be amazed at how many people suddenly have purple wigs and flowers in order to do what they want to do. It was beautiful. But it trained them on the software, how to use it, how to record. It gave their sales manager an opportunity to go, what was that? Now I know your hidden talent. But also, it prepared them for when we start to do the next sales pitch round. Because now they know the software, and we asked for no purple wigs. But now we know the software, and they know the action and activity that they need to do. So start fun. That's again that piece of fun that is absolutely essential. It's that opportunity to get everybody loose and enjoy themselves. And what you'll find is the frontline managers will go, hey, I heard so-and-so did this and it was really good, we should look at that. And even in the fun and the focus and the bad and the good, you continue to have those good communications with the frontline sales managers. They will be some of your best friends. And you will be their essential person to go to. Especially when they say, hey, I need a training. I always chuckle when they say that. I always pull 2 steps back and go, I have 4 questions for you. What's your objective? What's the gap you're trying to fill? Who's the audience? And what's the time frame? And it's not yesterday, that does not count. So, because we all know we've had that before. Those 4 questions, I make the sales manager stop, think about it. What is our objective? Well, we want to sell more of this portion or this product or this feature. No, you don't want to do feature function. And they'll rail for a minute, but we have to explain that when you're having good conversations with prospects and customers, it's not about the feature. It's not about the function. It's about the outcome. So once we establish the objective, and what gap are we trying to fill? Are we not selling enough of that feature or that function? No, they just want to highlight that, or somebody in product said, we really need to work on that, or that might be tied here and here. So it's important for you to continue that conversation, ask those questions, make those challenges. And when it comes to technology and tech stack, I've had and heard discussions all around this last couple days of how there's so many tools, how do we know, what do we do? So the team had an idea. By the way, the team is a team of 1, that would be me. The team had an idea to, I speak in we sense all the time, to do this Tools Tuesday. But the first thing I did was have that Tools Tuesday with managers. Look, here's what we want to do. We want to align what we're doing. We want to align the tools. Tell me what you think is the most important one to start with. And then we're going to build from that. So every Tuesday we have a CSM from one of the tools that we use come and talk about best practices. And they talk about troubleshooting. It's not about a how-to, it's about what do you do with what you've got. So the great thing about that was frontline managers are the first ones to dial in. It's even better because then it got caught out to a lot of the other organizations within my company. Oh, people are learning about Gong? People are learning about Sixth Sense? People are learning about all the, yes, let's do this. So that conversation and that connection first with the frontline managers and that communication around that was absolutely key because their team goal is to have better usage, quicker time to value, and ensuring that their team knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it right. So examples I've given you about what can work, and also reminders of what you need to do so it doesn't work. Now, I've been very fortunate. I'm not a shy person. I will knock on their doors. I will kick down their Zooms so that I can ensure that they listen. But they will listen, and they will appreciate, and they will help. So, thanks. Last thing I want to say, look at me, I'm not done yet. The listen, the coach, and engage. This is absolutely huge. Listen to your sales managers. They have visibility into their teams. They see when someone is struggling or when someone's doing really well. Coach them to the point before. Often, sales managers are really good reps that just got promoted. Show them how to get to LinkedIn Learning to do some sales skills or sales development. You know, refer them to some methodologies that are online. Sandler has a space too, for example. So you can help them and you can coach them and engage. Don't stop talking to your reps. Don't stop talking to your sales managers. And I know that sounds, I keep saying communicate, but it makes such a difference. And then they turn to look to you as experts. And then you see how key enablement is for the sales managers. Thanks. That's what I got.
We have a couple questions for you.
Yay me.
So the first one on the screen you just addressed, but I'm going to read between the lines here and pull a different twist. So the exact question was, how do you coach and prepare new sales managers that got promoted from their sales team? Which in my experience is a tricky thing. Yeah. Because you just went from us to them, and it's hard to navigate. So anything you found that you could share with the group?
Yeah, so first thing was I engage them as, congratulations, welcome to a whole new world, and a whole new world of management. And the first thing I like to do is guide them towards some managerial courses, online, free. And that's so important because you're approaching them not as a, I'm going to tell you what to do, here's some suggestions for good things. And then say, hey, I'm going to set up a one-on-one, we'll see how you're doing, we'll progress forward, and when you're ready, we'll talk about your team and how you can manage your team.
Okay. I'm going to have just an add-on question to that one. So another trend that I've seen and I've heard other people reference is newly minted managers coming straight from sales tend to gravitate towards the super closer model, which doesn't scale. And so have you seen those tendencies and anything you found particularly helpful in coaching them out of that?
Right, yes. And what I'll find is the super closers will lean towards their super closer in their team. So they'll talk about, oh, I really want to get on this because this is a really big deal and this could go this way. It could go sideways. And so what I try to say is, let's look at all of your deals. Let's look at your pipeline. Let's look at your pipeline first, because then that'll help you understand where the big deals land and where the middle deals land and where the small deals land. And then we can sort through that. So it's great to gravitate towards greatness, because those big deals bring greatness, but also consistency brings greatness.
And this one came in halfway through your session, and I'm pretty sure it is for your, so we've had sometimes this weird latency.
I know, it
goes
up and down, I noticed
But
that.
the question is, how do you get enablement feedback in a scalable and actionable way outside of doing SurveyMonkey? We, the question asker, want to understand what their feature functionality needs are.
Oh, I was told not to do that, I did that, sorry. So this is where the coaching and then the small team coaching can come in handy. So when you're doing small team, I usually try to do 1 or 2 questions I ask them. How did you feel about this last session? Or what are you looking for in the next enablement release session? So when you do that 1 to small verbal, that actually helps tremendously. Because then they'll have they're sales reps, they like to talk. They're communicators just like us. So they're gonna keep talking and they're gonna share that. And sometimes I find that's far more effective than any SurveyMonkey.
We've got time for 1, maybe 2 more, something in the room. Brett?
You know me.
Thanks, man.
Great presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
So much. This is a topic I'm very passionate about.
Me too.
When it comes to onboarding, obviously creating a great, robust, amazing onboarding for our new reps, our new SDRs is paramount to their success. Rarely do you find that as thought out for managers, right, that are either promoted up or hired
have many thoughts on the program. It'll take a little bit. But in essence, if we have new managers, I've made a deal with my SVP that those new managers, even though they've been with the company for a while, have to go through onboarding. Because many times I find that those new managers are also taking on new reps. And they may have been here for a while, but they do not know some of the updated processes. They've been doing one thing for a while. In the last company I was in, we had all the managers go through our onboarding first to ensure that they understood what was happening and what pieces are, and we hold them accountable. So I heard yesterday about onboarding where, you know, the sales manager needs to know if something's going on or if that person's not connected. And so I had to make an agreement with all my sales managers, see what they're going through, do not interrupt them. And by the end of the week, they're presenting. So I always had to present back at the end of the week for my onboarding. We give them a scenario or they build one based on an account. So when we did that, we asked some of the hiring managers to be on that panel. And when we asked them to be on that panel, that was an hour and a half devoted. So we made sure we gave them the time. Here's who's in here, and here's what I need you to listen for and give feedback on. That then puts them in that position of, I can guide them from the start, I need to. I started having managers jockeying to be on that. Because it was important for them to see their new reps coming through and their new product marketers. I had product marketing, customer success, and implementation managers coming through my onboarding as well. They got an opportunity to see who was coming in. And then they got an opportunity to give feedback. Here's why it's worked for me in the past.
Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome. All right. Thanks, everybody.